So when business and life just feels off, I've learnt that often it's one of 5 dimensions that are out of alignment. And even the word like alignment sounds a bit fucking wanky, and it doesn't sound very strategic, and it can sound really fluffy. And for a while I was like, what do you mean fucking alignment? I'm out of alignment with what? And the way to look at it is there are core pillars that need to be operating in alignment with, say, our strengths, in alignment with, say, the business vision, and to make sure that everything else is all moving towards the same direction, right? It'd be like, imagine having a ship, right? And you're the captain and you've kind of got this rough idea in mind, but no one else knows where you're going. And some parts of the ship aren't operating at their best. And then you've got people over here that have a different idea, and then your mind changes, and that can be out of alignment. And so think about how challenging and how much, and you're the captain and you've kind of got this rough idea in mind, but no one else knows where you're going. And some parts of the ship aren't operating at their best. And then you've got people over here that have a different idea, and then your mind changes, and that can be out of alignment. And so think about how challenging and how much energy it might take for that boat to get to where it needs to go. So similar in business or even in life, is if you're feeling just like almost stuck, like what's going on, why aren't things moving forward the way I want them to, and you're kind of stuck in the doing of it, it may be time to step back and evaluate the 5 core pillars, which I've identified as like, when you look at being a founder or a business owner, you need to be multi-dimensional, right? As the visionary, as the leader, you need to be able to understand all areas. And if you are the founder or the owner, a lot of the problems in the business are going to be tied to you personally. And so when I look at the idea of being a 5-dimensional founder, it means that you have all the core areas in alignment and under control for you to move forward with the best bang for buck, like least energy, more ROI. The whole idea is we kind of, in the end, can do less and achieve more, while in the early stages, there's just some hustle time, and that is what it is. So when you think about the core 5 pillars, so there's the business. So business in terms of its vision, the purpose of the business, the values of the business, the culture of the business, the team. Are they in alignment with the vision? Do they know the vision? Do they even know their part to play, their role to play in the vision? Are they behaving in alignment with the values? Is the company operating in alignment with the values? Right? Is the messaging in alignment with the values? Is the marketing strategy and the financial component, are they all in alignment with where you're going? Is the person who's thinking of ideas over here, the new ideas, are they actually going to help you move towards the vision or not? Are they just creating new ideas because they get excited and lose focus? So that's the business component. Like, is the business all running in terms of a well-oiled ship? So it can be, you can get to the vision the most efficient and effective way. And often that even reviewing, like, okay, what is the vision? What's the 10-year? What's the 1 year? What's the 90-day? What does it look like? What is everyone's role or part to play? Is everyone in the right seats? Am I in the right seat? Right? Is everyone, are the values even relevant? Like, do we just choose some marketing terms, or are they actually relevant to how the business operates when it's at its best? And so that's one core piece, is to really, really evaluate that part of the business, because often you can find you just like in hustle mode and growing to grow, and everyone's just kind of doing their thing because no one's had the time or energy to step back and review. And as the founder, the visionary, the owner, that's your role, is to be able to step back and review and pull your head out of the reeds and have that greater vision of what needs to be done. The other piece is the personal dimension. Now, as the business owner or the founder, you are just intertwined in the business, right? And often we say, your business problems as personal problems reflected out into the business. And so you need to understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your zone of genius is. Even looking at things like human design, like what are your optimal operating environments, systems like, and are you operating within them, right? How do you manage your time? Is your time being spent on the highest value, biggest ROI things, or are you getting stuck in the weeds, right? Really understanding what's important to you. So what are your personal values? Are you getting enough time with your family, or are you getting enough time to do things that alignment with your growth. Because if your vessel here is fried, out of alignment with your values, not spending enough time with your family, so you develop resentment towards the company, all these things can start building up and can be the blind factors that are actually blocking your growth without actually realizing, right? It could be that you have this fear that the bigger the business grows, the less time you've got to spend with your family. And so you might subconsciously be blocking the growth of the business out of fear if it becomes big, you'll lose yourself because you're already sort of half losing yourself as it is, right? So it's really, really important to then look at the dimensions as like who you want to live, so who you want to be, how you want to live, your personal values, you know, what your dream is for the way you want to operate the business, the vision of the business, how much time you want to give to your family, what are your relationships like, to make sure all those things, A, you're aware of them, and B, the business that you're building is going to be able to support that in some capacity. Because the last thing we want is to like just go blindly and try to build this business and it grows. And this is what a lot of people can get through via pure force and hustle. It's like you just fucking grow the business and you sacrifice everything and then you've created a prison. And this is really common where people build a business and it's making bank, but they're fried, right? And they're now almost trapped in something that doesn't support how they want to live. So it's really important to actually review like what are your personal values, what's important to you, what are your relationships like, what does growth mean for you? You know, how much uncertainty can you manage? You know, what are your best times to work? What sort of tasks should you be working on? What lights you up? All that kind of stuff. And while there's a bit of bootstrapping and just hustle, when you start growing, you need to start looking at this stuff where you wake up in 5 years' time and something you hear and you're like, fuck, I hate my life. The third pillar is your personal health and wellness, right? I get that there are times when maybe you can't train every day for an hour because you're like dialed into the business and maybe you've got family to look after as well. But I think also a lot of people use it as an excuse. If you truly value something, if you really prioritize something, you will make time for it. You might look at it and go, yeah, I don't have time to train, but you scroll social media or you gamble or you find time for things that you value, or you go to the pub and drink beers with your friends, whatever it is, right? There's time for things that you value. But it's also taking control and power back. If you give everything away and be like, yeah, well, you know, I don't have time. That is one of the weakest excuses. I've worked with single mums running multiple $1 million businesses with 4 kids. And because a value of hers was fitness and looking after her body, she will still train. She will make it happen. And so it's really important for you to know, like, what does health and wellness look like for you? You might not need to meditate. I love meditation because it works for me. Maybe for you it's some breath work. Maybe for you it's a walk instead, right? What does physical exercise do for you? So you look after the mind. So if you're something for the mind, what are you doing to help your mind recover? Just like we're doing and strengthen the mind's resilience, right? And what are you doing for the body? There needs to be some kind of physical exercise. If you're not doing some kind of physical exercise in the days, you're missing a core component. Like we're past that point now that it's almost like a given. So the other piece is, what does recovery look like for you, right? So is it ice bars? Is it saunas? Is it a massage? Like, what does recovery look like for you so your mental and physical health and wellness is at its optimal? Because if you're not at your optimal, I know what I'm not at my optimal. I can tell now if I say don't exercise, don't meditate, don't get my morning coffee time, I'm not as sharp. I make worse decisions. I'm more reactive. And the more time we spend in that just becomes our norm. And so there could be so many things that you're missing because you haven't optimized your health, right? And it doesn't have to be a fucking hour long every day. You can be 10 minutes of meditation, half an hour of walk. If you don't have time to prioritize 45 minutes, maybe max an hour in your day, what kind of a life do you have, right? Do you want to be the best boss, founder, visionary, partner, parent? That is part of the role, right? To invest in this first. The fourth is all around purpose and meaning, right? This is a core intrinsic driver for us, right? This is why people align on things via shared value. One of the core things we search for as human beings is, once our basic needs are met, is like significance and purpose. What impact are we having in the world, right? And so it's super, super important for you to know, like, what does contribution look like for you? Is your business able to be an expression of what your purpose is? Are your personal values aligned with the businesses, right? What is your zone of genius? What lights you up? And are you able to do that in some capacity? And so it's really, really important for you to look at your business doesn't have to, or maybe your business isn't necessarily directly aligned to your purpose, but does it provide you an avenue to express your purpose, right? Because we might have a purpose that isn't directly correlated to our business, but the income that our business provides, and we have Friday afternoons free because we've set up our business in alignment, means we're able to then focus on what our purpose is. And there's a process you can go through to understand what your purpose is. And I can, if you want that, I can wherever this video is, you can either comment or DM me and ask me, and I can show you that process. It's a really cool process. And so really understanding your purpose, because in the end, most of us, we start off chasing the money and the growth and the material things, and most of us find our way to at some point being, well, why am I not happy? And it's because we are misaligned to purpose and values and meaning for us, and it might just be even around family for you. And then the fifth is around finances and money. Like, what is your relationship like to money? What are you focused on? Are you willing to sacrifice everything else for money? What do you do with the money? So for example, I've got friends in different areas. So I've got one friend in business, he can earn money easily. He can call it in, but he's got holes in the bucket. I'm like, so where did that 300K that you paid yourself last year, where did that go? He's like, I don't really know. And I'm like, so you don't have savings this year and you're now under the pump because of that? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, so even little things like that, like we all have our own money stories and patterns, and no one's better than the other. Some people like are really good at investing and strategizing money, but they struggle to call it in. And maybe there's a block around what money means to them. So really understanding, like, what does money look like for you? What are targets you need to hit? What does wealth building look like to you? So for a long time for me personally, for example, I had no concept around compounding interest, or I was always short term. I was never educated when I was younger around the power of compounding and the power of investing and delayed gratification. I was just like, now. And it put me in a position where in my mid-30s, I had to pull my finger out and be like, oh shit, if I had thought differently, I'd be able to retire by now. maybe not. But really understanding, like, what does financial freedom look like for you? What are you doing with your money? Is your tax optimized? Like, who have you got working for you who are geniuses in that field who are optimizing that? Because what I've often seen in business is maybe people are excellent at the financial component and growth, but the actual dimensions of the business in terms of alignment to purpose, alignment to their personal life, alignment to purpose, alignment to their health and wellness is fucking out the window. And they're wondering why they're fried and not happy and satisfied. Or some people are super aligned to their purpose and know their values and the culture feels strong, but financially, like, well, we can't grow properly. What's going on here? And there could be a component around their money story or relationship to money, or even what they're doing with the money, and alignment to the business and the vision in terms of everyone working different things. So it's really important that if you're feeling like there's like a stagnation, or you're feeling a bit off or out of alignment or stuck, it is most likely that the 1 to 3 of these pillars are out of alignment for you. And it's really, really important that you then evaluate them and understand where the gap is. So it's most likely that gap is the thing that's holding you back from going to the next level. And this is the whole idea about being a 5-dimensional founder or business owner, is that you're able to manage all these dimensions, have them working as effectively as possible, and then it's going to give you the most solid foundation to move forward and take it to the next level. So this all comes from learnings that I've had. Like, I've been in this game I've worked with a startup and I was an employee for 7 years, and then I've worked in my own businesses, multiple businesses. I've started and failed businesses. I've worked with different coaches and healers, and I've made lots of fucking mistakes. I didn't realize that business would be this hard, if I'm honest. And so this has all come from learnings of these are things not to do, and then seeing these are things to do, and also learning from experts, being like, these are the ways to look at things. So hopefully this gave you a little bit of something to look at if you're the business or the founder or the owner, to really step back and evaluate these core 5 dimensions of the business in terms of its vision, purpose, values, operations, who's in what seat, the culture, How do people handle pressure? Your personal values. What are your personal needs? You know, what does your personal purpose look like? Is it affecting your relationships? How much value do you place in your relationships? Then looking at the health and wellness, like how much you're investing in yourself, mind and body. And then look at alignment of purpose and meaning, either through the business or as an avenue to support it. And then the whole money piece, like what is your relationship to money like, and what are you doing with the money that does come in? And so they're the core areas that I would have you consider and thoroughly evaluate and zoom back and strategically look at, and then bring in like, where are your skill gaps? You might need to learn something, you might need to coach in a certain area, right? And that'd be the best place to start if you're feeling a bit disenchanted, out of alignment, like something's off, even disconnected to your business. So good luck, and feel free to, wherever you see this video, feel free to write a message or ask me questions. Happy to chat about this sort of stuff. I love it.